What's up, y'all? How are you guys doing? It is that time. What's up? What's up? It is championship mindset time. It's training time. We're gonna be here for about an hour. Okay, so if you aren't able to see me, make sure you refresh your page. Time. It's training time. I'm in the comments over here looking at you guys. Here we go. What up, Shelly? What up, Ann? What up, Robin? How's everybody's weekend going? Right? Good. I think it's a good way to start your weekend. Make sure we win our weekend. What up, Con P? What up, Renee? What up, Michael? What up, Tammy? Ron Rico in the building. Lisa, am I coming through fine? Can everybody hear me good before I get started? I want to make sure I'm coming through the way I need to be coming through. So let me know. Yep, cool. All right, guys. So this training is focused on something that I dearly care about. It's something that I developed early on in my career with starting rehab time. Some of you probably seen my old videos where I'm talking about championship mindset. Championship mindset is super important. It's actually a big part of the book. I'm sure some of you got it. And I'm actually going to read a story from the book, but championship mindset is chapter number 8. And I believe this is a mindset that everyone needs to have. I get this question a lot. Trent, how are you able to overcome? Like even with football, how are you able to be successful in football? How are you able to be successful in your family life? How are you able to be successful in rehab time? Like I'm not bragging on myself, but seriously, like anything I do, I become super successful at it. And it's because I understand the importance of having a championship mindset. I understand what it takes to be a champion. I understand what it takes to win. I want to paint this picture for you right now. Okay, everybody that's a part of TIC, everybody that's watching this, you are a champion. Okay, every single day is your championship. You can treat your family as your championship. You can treat your goals as your championship. You can treat whatever as your championship. You're a champion. The key is, all right, how do we pull that out of us, right? What's going to keep us going when it gets hard? When doubt creeps in, when fear creeps in, when rejection comes? Because listen, none of us are immune to life. None of us can control what's going to happen. We can't control when the storms come. Just like in real life, we can't control if a storm comes or not. It's the same in our lives, but we can control how we respond. And the thing that I've realized, like I've been able to be around championship type of people. I've been involved with sports on championship teams. So I know what it takes. I know the level of commitment. I know the level of consistency. I know the level it takes to actually win championships. And it could be sports, it could be your business, it could be your personal life, it could be your goals. The same 5 fundamental traits that you can apply to sports, I promise you, you can apply to your life. You can apply to your relationship. You can apply to your parenthood. You can apply literally to anything. I've been able to study high level people my whole entire life. I've been blessed to be around high level athletes like the Peyton Mannings of the world, Jerry Rices of the world. I've been around, the Reggie Waynes and all these people that if you watch sports, you know who they are. I've been around high level champions. I've been around people who have won championships. I got a chance, my brother coached with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I got a chance to be around LeBron, like not personally, but I got to watch and study and see how he operates. So after doing all this, and even from a business level, I've got to be around, high level people in this industry. I got to be around high level parents, championship parents. Like I just understand the mindset. And after I did my study, I realized that it was 5 things that champions have. 5 things that you must have in order to win your championships. Okay, so I want you right now to think about that. Like, what are the championships in your life for you? Like, what is it? Like, and I don't want you to think just business. I don't want you to think just vision and purpose wise, whatever. I want you to think holistically. What are some championships? Like, if you accomplish this, right, it will make you feel incredible. You feel like you'll be on top of the world. What is that? Okay, so let's get that vision because as we know, as we always talk about breaking down the rehab map, in order to get somewhere, we gotta have a destination. We got to have a destination. So, what are those destinations in your life? What are those championships in your life? And the question that I want to start this off with, that I really want you to think about, and it's a leverage statement. It's a leverage question. How would you live today? And I I ask this question because I see how it relates to champions. Like I see like they don't take a practice for granted. They don't take a day for granted. They don't take an opportunity for granted. They literally operate like it's their last. They do. Everything they do, they operate like it's their last. They put their all into it because they know another chance doesn't exist. And I'm going to give the explanation of a championship mindset really quick, okay? It'll break it down into one sentence. But the question I want to ask you right now is, how would you live today? Okay? How would you live today if you knew tomorrow wasn't promised? How would you live today if you knew tomorrow wasn't promised? You know, a good friend of mine told me this, and it set with me. And it changed my mindset towards life, literally. He said, Trent, because we're talking about age, and I was like, man, I'm old. I'm 34 years old. He was like, you know what? You don't know how old you are. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, I'm 34. I was born September 21st, 1984. I know how old I am. He was like, no, you don't know how old you are. He said, you're basing your age by your birthday. And I was like, duh. Like, what else am I supposed to base my age off of? He says, have you ever thought about something? He asked me this question. He said, do you know when your time is going to be up? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like life? And he was like, yeah, like, do you know when your time is going to be up? I said, absolutely not. Nobody does. He said, exactly. He said, so what if your time was up tomorrow? He said, you'll be very old because you only have tomorrow left. And he says, what if I got around a person that thinks they're old, they're 60 years old, and they said their time was up when they were 98? Who's older? You got 1 year to live. They got, whatever. I forgot what 50, 98. They got 48 years to live. They're a lot younger than you, even though they're older in age. And that pierced my heart. It put a sense of urgency in my life. See, a lot of us live, and I've talked about this before, but a lot of us live as if tomorrow is guaranteed. If you really understood that time is so precious, time is something that we can't get back. I don't care how much money you have. Like, I bet you somebody has $100 million would pay somebody that's 16 years old. They would probably pay all 100 million. A 90-year-old person would probably be like, here, I'll give 100 million to you so I can be back young. So many people want youth back because so many people have wasted time in this world. They want it back, but we can't get it back. So I'm going to ask you that question again and really think about it. And hopefully it hits you on a deeper level now. How would you live today if tomorrow wasn't promised? I don't know if you guys watch sports, but in basketball, it's a series, right? And the best series are the series that go to game 7. And if you know about game 7, right? Game 7 is the last game. It's a make or break. It's over. Either you win or you lose. But game 7, that's it. What if you approached your life like every single day? And listen, I get it. We're human. Every single day ain't gonna be like this. But what if you tried to approach your life like every single day was game 7? Right? There's no tomorrow. There's no next time. Like, it's either make or break. It's either win or lose. It's like, if you're playing, I've been there before in sports. It's like the last game, and if you lose, you're going home. If you win, you win the championship or you progress to the next round. What if you treated every single day like that? Because when I look at champions, when I study champions, when I study people who actually win these championships in their life, they operate like that. Right? They really understand the value of time. They really understand that today is the day. They really understand that, man, I might not have tomorrow. They have a sense of urgency in their life, a sense of urgency. They're super dedicated to mastery. to mastery. They're dedicated to it. Like they really put in the work. I got a chance to play with Peyton Manning. And I always tell this story because it blew my mind. You guys know who Peyton Manning is? Some of you might not know, but some of you might. I'm trying to see if you guys know, okay? I'm pretty sure you do if you don't even watch sports. But Peyton Manning, arguably one of the greatest quarterback ever played. I got a chance, and Ann's in Canada, so you probably don't watch football, at least American football. I believe you're in Canada, right? So we'll let you slide with that one. But Peyton is Peyton and Eli, right? Eli's his brother. Eli actually won more championships than Peyton, but I believe Peyton is definitely a better quarterback. But I got a chance to play with Peyton Manning, right? My rookie year, surreal moment. You know, I'm like a kid. Just imagine like he wasn't really my idol, but just imagine like you're watching somebody, you playing on video games with him, you get to meet this person, it's like your teammate, you're trying to freak out, like this is Peyton Manning, you're trying to be cool because you're a dude, you know, you don't want to be like sweating him, you want to actually be cool. So I get there and I start to realize why he is so great. And I'm going to break down the process of why he's great and why other people are great. Why people win championships in just a second. These 5 traits, which a lot of you know about, but I'm going to break it down on a deeper level. So a lot of times we think that people just are born great. Yes, there's people who are born in better circumstances. There's people who are born with better, talent. They're born just better, right? That happens. That's true. But that's not enough. Because in order to move to greatness, you have to develop skills and you have to be in love with mastering those skills, with mastering your strengths. What people say don't work on your weaknesses, I think that's bullcrap because I think you should. With mastering your weaknesses too. And as I was around him, it made sense why this guy was so great. So when you're in training, like minicamp is usually happening around this time. A lot of the great players, the players that don't have to worry about not making a team, like the superstars on the team, most of them aren't there. Most of them are like in Miami training, they're doing their own thing because they feel like they don't need to be there. It's like when all the rookies and people trying to make the team are in minicamp. It's called OTAs. What surprised me is that Peyton, the best player on the team, he was there. He was at every workout. He would stay after. He would be in film. He would work with someone like me that was at the bottom of the totem pole. And you know what? I asked him a question. I said, why are you here? Like you don't have to be here. He said this, and I'll never forget it. He said, Trent, he said, my best can always get better. He said, in order to win multiple championships in life, so you can sometimes win championships by luck. But in order to be consistent at winning championships, consistent at winning MVPs, consistent at reaching your highest level, you got to know this fact. Your best can always get better. There's always another level to your life. And the reason I'm here is because I want to work with guys like you just in case Marvin Harrison or Reggie Wayne or whoever gets injured, you go in the game and we have chemistry. I care so much about this game. I care so much about my talent. I care so much. I want to be the best I can be. And I know I'm not there yet. This guy would literally be the first in film, the last to leave film. This guy cared so much, and I'm going to get off of Peyton, but this guy cared so much that I remember one day at practice. I don't know if you ever heard me tell this story, but we have a player. He runs a route, and he catches the ball, right? I'm not going to get too in-depth with it, like too detailed. Maybe you football nerds will love it, but he runs a curl route at 12 yards. He catches the ball, scores, right? Good play. Everybody's celebrating, clapping. Offense is getting crunk. Peyton is pissed, for a better lack of word. I'm just like, why is he mad? He comes back and says, run it over. People are like, for what? We just scored. Let's run it over. And he said, you ran the route at 12. You were supposed to run the route at 10. And he said, in the game, this is practice, but in the game, if you run the route at 12 and I throw it at 10, it might be an interception or it might be an incomplete pass. It could be a critical moment in the game that really helps us. So we need to do everything we can do perfect. We need to master practice. We need perfect practice. Because if you can't have perfect practice, guess what? You can't expect perfection in the game. And that wowed me. and it stuck with me. It's stuck with me for forever. It's still with me. That so many of us, we just kind of go through the motions. Like champions don't go through the motions. Champions commit. Champions commit to excellence. And as we talked about before, what you do repeatedly, right? Excellence is what you do repeatedly. Not excellence is what you do repeatedly. You are what you do repeatedly. And you have the capability. It's on you, right? It's like you have the responsibility to actually take your life to a next level because you can control the work that you put in. Let me define champion real quick. The definition of champion is a warrior, supporter of a cause. Okay? A warrior. What's a warrior? A warrior doesn't operate in weakness. A warrior doesn't go run when it gets hard. A warrior doesn't tuck his tail when fear shows up. A warrior steps up to the plate. A warrior doesn't back down. So in our life, like, Trent, what does that have to do with our life? You're a warrior because there's going to be times in your life when challenges show up. Yeah, when you're trying to win on your road to your championships. It's going to be time in your life where adversity shows up on the road to your championships. It's going to be times in your life where people leave your life on the road to your championships. So when adversity shows up, when those opponents show up, are you going to show up? Are you going to run? A champion. I'm sorry I'm getting passionate about this, but championship mindset, I love it. 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 Because literally, if you guys get this, it's going to be so many breakthroughs and change that happens in your life. Okay, so if I'm yelling, if I'm about to jump through the screen, I'm sorry, but I'm passionate about this. A champion is a warrior. I'm about to tone it down because I can't talk like this for an hour. A champion is a warrior, supporter of a cause. So what's your cause? What's your mission? What are you supporting? You should know this, right? What are you going to be a warrior for? Is it going to be a warrior for self-worth? Is it going to be a warrior for change? It could be all of these things. Is it going to be a warrior to start a business? Like a champion? Write this down. Like seriously, listen guys, everybody who takes notes and takes pretty notes like a lot of you do and screenshots it to me, I'm going to share it on my Facebook. My Facebook probably. I'm definitely going to share it on my Instagram stories. So make sure you're taking these notes. Don't just listen. Take these notes and be going through the process of how you can be applying this to your life. This is application. It's not well, you're going to get inspiration, information, but remember, these trainings are about application. Champion, a warrior, supporter, or cause. What's mindset? So that's the first part. Mindset is a fixed mental attitude. Oh man, this stuff is firing me up. A fixed mental attitude that predetermines how a person responds to situations. Whew. Guys, please understand this. Like, we're going to talk about the 5 traits, but if you just understand this part and write this part down, this is championship mindset. So let's put it together. What's a championship mindset? It's a warrior that has a fixed mental attitude that predetermines how a person responds to situations. That's what a championship mindset is, right? You already predetermined how you're going to respond. So when setbacks show up in your life, you're already wired to respond with greatness. You already are wired that you're going to swim no matter how many problems are flooding your life. You're not going to drown. You're not going to surrender. You're already wired, right? Because of these 5 traits we're going to talk about. You're already wired in how you're going to respond. I've been saying this quote for years. Write this down. Life is not about what happens to you. It's about how you respond to what happens to you. Life will throw you curveballs, but guess what? If you already got a fixed mental state and you ready, when they throw that curveball, you're going to knock that thing out the park. When life throws you that curveball, you ready for it because you already made up in your mind. It reminds me when I was a youth, probably about 13 years old. And this story just came to me with curveballs and stuff. So 13 years old, and I had a championship mindset at this point because I had made up in my mind that I'm going to knock it out the park. I already told myself because I went through the process, the vision process that we talked about before. You remember about the Texas football game, how I tell you to play the game the night before? I went through this process, right? And so, hold on, let me write this down right here because I got a thought in my head that I need to write down. That I'm going to get. Okay, cool. So, we're playing baseball, right? And baseball is actually my best sport, by the way. Side note. I just got bored with it. So, we're playing baseball, and we're playing this team. And this kid is striking out everybody on our team. I'm sorry, he throwing this curveball. It's a mean one. You know, when you little, you don't want to get hit by a pitch, so the curveball is coming like, and it just curves and it's a strike. You feel stupid after. So he strikes out everybody. But I had that championship mindset. I was a warrior. I had a fixed mental state on how I was going to respond. So I was already ready for it. But I had a feeling. I said, whatever he going to throw. I said, he might throw a curveball. He might throw a changeup. He might throw a slider. He might throw whatever. He might throw a fastball. Whatever he throw, I'm knocking that thing out the park. No lie. The first pitch he threw, I don't know why he tested me, but he threw me a fastball. And soon as he threw that fastball, home run over the fence. Just like that. You know why? Because I already had a fixed mental attitude that predetermined how a person responds to situations. So that's mindset. A lot of people don't have a champion mindset. What do? They have a victim mindset. A victim ain't no warrior. So they have a victim mindset where they already predetermined what it's going to be. Life sucks. Life isn't fair. It's the BC mindset. It's blame and complain. It's everybody's fault, right? So they have a victim mindset because it's already fixed. So now you guys can understand what a championship mindset is. I'm going to say it one more time and we're going to move on. A warrior, all right, has a fixed mental attitude that predetermines how a person responds to situations, right? So it's fixed on God. It's fixed on purpose. It's fixed on knowing your worth, okay? It's fixed on all of these things. So let's move on real quick. How you guys... Man, there you go. You can always rewatch it. I know some of you say you're slow at taking notes. Tammy, you can always, this is recorded. You can always go back and rewatch it. I will encourage you to do it, okay? Because sometimes I get going and I can't slow down, all right? It's just in me. So now we understand what a championship mindset is. But I want to touch on something real quick that I just want to add this real quick about mastery and understanding this. 99, the question is, are you willing to be the 1%er? Because 99% of people don't have a championship mindset, guys. They have a victim mindset. They have an average mindset. They got a just accept life mindset. The question that I want to ask you right now, and maybe this is something that you can put somewhere you can see it, that 1%er. Are you willing to be the 1%er? 99% of people, right, aim to make $1 million. The 1%er aims to change 1 million lives. 99% of people aim for fame. The 1%er aims for respect. 99% of people aim to use others in some form or fashion. The 1%er aims to stay loyal. 99% of people aim for applause. The 1%er aims to inspire. That's a major difference. I pride my life on being that 1%. I don't do what the world does. I don't do what everybody does. If everybody's doing it, that's a sign for me not to do it. Because I know the majority of the world are zombies. The majority of the world are followers in a negative way. The majority of the world are okay with just existing. There's a major difference between being the 99% and the 1%. A champion is just a contender who kept fighting, right? The teacher. And this is somebody, when you're being committed to that championship mindset, which we're going to talk about these traits in a second. But when you learn to master stuff, because mastery is just the result of repetition. When you learn to really care about the small details of your life, the things that most people overlook, like Peyton was doing, the small details, you have no choice but to become the greatest you. The teacher was once a student who kept learning. A success was once a failure who kept trying. The master was nothing but a novice that kept perfecting his or her craft. And this is my definition of master. I wrote this down in 2016. I said mastery, if you do enough of it, if you put your all into it, you'll become great at it. Mastery. If you do enough of it, if you put your all into it, you'll become great at it. How many of you guys are committed to mastering your life? How many of you guys are committed to becoming that greatest you? How many of you guys are committed to making 2019 the best year of your life? The best year of your life. So let me get to the meat of this on what actually makes up a championship mindset. That I love that definition, by the way. A warrior has a fixed mindset on what it's going to be. That's the way I would say it, right? What is going to be predetermined. So how do we build this championship mindset? There are 5 traits to having a championship mindset. These are words that you heard me talk about before because it's a part of the DNA of rehab time, right? These words that I'm going to speak about, you've heard me say it before, but I really want you to think on, write down from a level from 1 to 10, how you are in each one of these traits, and be honest with yourself, because lying to yourself, like to have it look pretty on paper, is not going to change anything. Don't put a 10 when you know you ain't a 10, right? If you're a 1, put a 1. If you're a 4, put a 4. From 1 to 10, put how you are at these things. And if you're going to be better at some than others probably. And you know you need to really focus on the things that you're weak at so you can build this championship mindset even more. All right, let's get started. Number 1, the first trait of having a championship mindset is something called commitment. Okay, commitment. My definition of commitment, if you've been following rehab time, you already know what this definition is. Staying loyal to what you said you were going to do long after the mood you set it in has left you. So, as I talk about this, a perfect example of a high energy would be after today. After today, it's easy to stay focused. It's easy to be hungry for change. It's easy to make changes in your life after today. You're probably inspired, right? You're getting this information. Inspiration. It's kind of like December 11th. You know, I made that video the other day in the Facebook group because I've seen a lot of people not show up. Literally, we have over 1,000 people that's in the inner circle. And I know some people can't make it, but I know certain people could be here. Certain people have forgot about it. Certain people haven't done the trainings. Certain people thought to just sign up on December 11th was it. And their life was supposed to change. And they were supposed to develop a championship mindset just by signing up. If it was that easy, everybody would be winning championships by just signing up. Why? The mood was high. It felt good. The new year was around. New year, new me. Clap, clap. Yeah, I'm going to change everything in my life. But then guess what? Inconvenience exposes commitment. Real life shows up. That mood you settled in has left because it is going to leave. Feelings leave. Feelings aren't loyal. Moods aren't loyal. They will leave. This mood that you're in right now, because I know you're feeling passionate, it will leave. The mood I'm in right now, it will leave. When it leaves, is your commitment going to leave? That's the question. When the mood leaves, is your commitment going to go out the window? Is it? Right? Because you got to stay loyal to what you said after the mood you said has left you. Like, don't live a life full of incompletion. You know, one of the most frustrating things is having to make the same goals you made this year, next year, because you fell off, because you had that New Year's resolution life, that new me life, and then you stopped being committed to it because it probably really wasn't that serious to you, and you fell off for it. And now next year you're gonna have to make the same exact goals. Or I'm gonna do this with my life, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, because the energy is high around social media, around everybody else. New year, new me. My question to you is, what's going to be your reason, man? Like, what's going to be your reason to keep you committed? You have to understand this is a big part of commitment. It's hard to stay committed when you don't have a reason. Some of us, we don't have a real reason, like an anchor that won't let you give up. I'm going to talk about my half marathon at the end of this. Remind me to talk about it. Like, I had an anchor that held my commitment down, that wouldn't let me give it up. In my life, I have an anchor. People say, how did you create change over all these years? Because I had a strong reason Why? What's your reason? And I don't mean just say it, but do you really feel it when you talk about your reason? Does it give you goosebumps? Do you get this passionate when you talk about it? What's your reason? Some of us, we don't have a reason. And that's why commitment goes out the window. The why is not strong enough. People say why. You can use that word. I like to say reason. If you're sick, I guarantee that it's a lot easier to live a healthier lifestyle when you're sick because your reason is strong. It's life or death. It's life or death. And so when that's in the play, for most of us, we get right. Our commitment gets stronger because a lot of us fear death. And so we get so serious. But why does it have to take a death threat to make you want to be committed to being the greatest you? That's my question. Because if you need a death threat, we talked about it earlier. Tomorrow ain't promised. You don't know how old you are. You could be very, 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 very old. So if you need a death threat, that's it, right? So you got to anchor that commitment down. You'll never anchor that commitment down if you don't have a real reason. So what is that? And you can have different reasons. For most of us, it's our family, it's our kids, it's this, it's that. Like, find out these reasons, write these reasons down, make these reasons very clear. Something else you need to be committed to in this process is committed to taking responsibility and stop using excuses. Stop using excuses. Nobody cares about your excuses. Results don't care about your excuses. People don't care about your excuses. Your growth don't care about your excuses. Nobody cares about your excuses but you. I'm sorry to say it like that. I know it hurts sometimes because you think people care. People do not care. And I'll tell you right now, if they care, they're going to care for a very short time. And then they're going to move on with their life because they have a life to live. You got to be so committed and taking responsibility that you start to say everything is my fault. That's the way I live life. Even the things that's not my fault, it's my fault because I allowed the situation to happen in some form. Because I know when I say it's my fault, I can actually do something about the situation. So I take that type of responsibility. Hence, that's why rehab time is built off of it all starts with you. You can make moves or you can make excuses. We talked about this in this training before, but I see too many people hold on to excuses too much. And I don't care what the cause is, what the situation is, because I can find somebody that's been in your shoes that's used that as motivation, as fuel to win championships, not as an excuse to sit there and complain about life. I can find somebody. If you can't find nobody that's been in your situation and they never used this, then cool, more power to you. But I guarantee there's somebody out there somewhere that's been in your exact same shoes, that probably had it worse than you, that say, you know what, I'm going to take full responsibility over this situation, over my life, and I'm going to make sure that I win these championships. I'm going to be a warrior. Remember, a warrior steps up regardless. A warrior is going out swinging. A warrior ain't caving, right? A warrior is going out running through stuff. Okay, so be committed to not having excuses. Be committed to taking responsibility. When we talk about commitment, be committed to finding a way. But Trent, it's no possible way. I've tried everything. But Trent, this and that. Listen, find a way. If the way don't exist, create the way. You started. There wasn't a map for me. But you know what? I found a way. I created the way. And I'm just going to say this, and I'm not trying to boost my ego, but it's just real. Wasn't too many people doing reality, real motivational speaking. Like it wasn't no room for me. Like people told me, Trent, you shouldn't be that real. You should calm it down. You shouldn't be that passionate. You should not wear this and not wear that. And you know what? I was committed to what God had called me to do. I was so committed to what God called me to do. It was like that commitment was my headphones to people's opinions. They were speaking so loud, but I still couldn't hear them because I was so focused on my purpose. My purpose was so loud, I couldn't hear opinions. My purpose was so loud that I couldn't hear rejection. My purpose was so loud that I didn't give any attention to those that didn't believe in me. Literally, my purpose, my commitment was my headphones to hate, was my headphones to gossip, was my headphones to drama. I could not hear nothing. I was that committed. Are you that committed is my question. And you gotta be. You have to be. Okay, so application. Stay committed to something small. Okay? If you're having a problem with commitment, if you put like a 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 on your thing and you want to better your commitment, How you better your commitment is you build your mindset with it, right? You build your mindset towards commitment. Start with something small. Okay, start with something small. Find something small that you can be committed to. Maybe it's listen to a podcast every morning. Maybe it's waking up at a certain time. Maybe it's eating clean. Whatever it is, find something you can stay committed to that's small. Because when you stay committed to something small, what you do is you build up muscle memory. Muscle memory, you build up that muscle. It's just like driving. The reason why you drive so well, no, I'm not gonna say everybody drives well. I don't know you're driving, but probably the reason why you probably drive so well is because you've been doing it so much. You've been committed to it. There was a fear that took place when you first started driving for most of us, but we got over that fear. We stay committed. Now we don't even think about the fear that comes with driving for the most part for us. So find something small to stay committed to. Because if you can't be committed to the small things, and I promise you, you won't be committed to the big things. When I talk about championship mindset, people start thinking about all the big things to be committed to. Like all these enormous goals. I'm like, start with something small. Start there, build your confidence in that. Okay, so the first trait is commitment. If y'all getting this, say, yup, and I know you are. The second trait is discipline. My definition of discipline is simply this: tattooing your purpose on your heart. And you can actually go get it tatted if you want. Tattooing your purpose on your heart so that your actions are trained. Your actions are trained. You can train your actions. Your actions are trained to move you closer to your dream. I like to wrap that whole pretty definition into something simple by saying this: get good at saying no to the things, to the people, to yourself, to whatever that doesn't get you your yes, that doesn't move you closer to your championships. One thing I know about championship teams is that championship teams are super hyper focused. They got that super zoom tunnel vision on. They're so focused. Nothing else matters. They have blinders on, just like that horse. That horse can't look to the side. That horse is only focused on going forward. You need to develop some blinders in your life. Some of us, we pay too much attention to the naysayers. We pay too much attention to the people in the bleachers. When I used to play football, when we go to the opponent's teams, they would say everything. I would hear them, but I wouldn't process it. I would hear them. They would talk about your mama. They'd be like, hey, I was with Aqua last night. I'm like, what? And you know, I'd be like, when I first started, it used to get to me. I'm like, man, what? And I realized, like, man, they just talking. They in the bleachers. And as they started to say that, I couldn't even hear it no more because I was so focused on the game. I was so focused on what I was supposed to do. I was so focused on winning that championship and putting out my best effort for the day. Some of us were not disciplined enough because we pay too much attention to what people are saying about us. We pay way too much attention to that. We pay too much attention to our haters. We pay too much attention to the things that don't move our life forward. We pay way too much. We give those people way too much credit. Don't you realize this? Can nobody stop your life without your permission? Do you realize that? Can nobody control your life without your permission? If somebody's controlling you, let's take it back to commitment. It's your responsibility. You are allowing it. And that's something that you got to look within inside of you and ask yourself, why am I allowing this person that absolutely does nothing for my life to control so much of my life? Why am I valuing their opinion when I know it's not the truth? So you got to be disciplined. Get good at saying no to the things that don't get you yes. We talk about burning bridges. This is what discipline is. Chapter 3 in the book or 4 in the book, we talk about burning bridges to becoming the best you. What bridges in your life that need to be burned? We talked about that in the rehab training. There's some people that you have to say no to. And listen, let me tell you something about discipline. Discipline isn't like, this isn't discipline when you say no to the things that are easy to say no to. That's not discipline. So if you're like, okay, I'm gonna win the championship of becoming the best me health-wise. Like that's my championship. I want to drop this amount of weight. It is not discipline for you to say no to some food that you hate. That's not discipline. That's just like, you don't like it. Discipline is saying no to that cake that you love. Discipline is saying no to that dessert that you love that's calling your name when you feeling for it. When that inconvenience shows up, when that temptation shows up, right? That temptation will expose your discipline. That's discipline, getting good at saying no to the things that don't get you your yes. So if it's people that don't get you your yes, you got to say no to them. And sometimes it isn't always easy to identify. You know, I talk about this in the book. If you have the book, read that chapter. I literally go over this. Sometimes it's not easy to identify a person that's not the best for us, right? It's easy to identify a person that causes us pain. That's easy. Or people in our life that's not good for us. Like, that's kind of easy. But maybe you have somebody that isn't a bad person in your life. But the more you're around them, the more you pick up on their mindset of average. The more you're around them, the more you pick up on their mindset of complaining. The more you're around them, the more you pick up on their mindset of just accepting how life is. Is that a bad person? Absolutely not. But is that a person that moves you closer to your championships? Absolutely not. And you don't have to get rid of this person. But I would definitely monitor my time around people like that. Champions want to surround themselves with champions. I don't want these cancers in my life. I don't want people who force me to settle in my life. I don't want people who, when I talk about my dreams, they make me feel stupid for talking about my dreams. I want people around my life that make me want to dream bigger, that make me feel stupid for not dreaming more. That's what I want around my life. I don't know about you, but I know I want to win these championships. So that's discipline. So questions you might ask yourself is, does this move me closer to a win? Does this move me closer to becoming better? Does this move me closer to my goal? Does this move me closer to my vision? Does this move me closer towards being the greatest you? And if the answer is no, then you got to let it go. Another question you might ask is, does this go against what I stand for? Discipline is a part of standing up for what you stand for, even if it means standing alone. Woo-hoo. Discipline is a part of standing up for what you stand for, even if it means standing alone. Or you want to be that disciplined. You know, it was a time in my life where I loved the lifestyle. I loved going out. I loved to party. It was fun. I probably still do, to be real with you. Like the music, the vibes. And I'm not talking down to anybody who loves to party. Nothing wrong with that. But the way I was partying wasn't conducive to the person that I wanted to be. It was direct opposite. It worked against it. It wasn't helping me get my yes. But I loved going out. I loved the vibes. I loved the people. I loved to drink at that point. It was just fun. But what's fun doesn't mean it's always right for your life. What feels good doesn't mean it is good for your life. So you have to separate facts from feelings. And so I had to become disciplined to say, what do I really want? And does this go against what I say that I want, the mindset that I want to have, or the life that I want to live? And so I had to let my principles make that decision for me. Because my heart, my feelings didn't want to make that decision. I had to let my principles make that decision. So when it's hard to make decisions in your life, because that happens, you got to let your principles and your standards make those decisions. And I live by something called POP with discipline. POP. POP, hold it down. You remember that video? Some of y'all might not know that video, but that was a funny video. But I live by POP. Mama, I love you. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? Or am I just laughing by myself? Y'all remember that? Go look it up. All right, y'all laugh later. But POP stands for purpose over pleasure. And guys that are asking questions, please hold your questions unless you want to talk to people in the chat, because I'm not really looking right now. I will answer questions in a little bit. But it stands for purpose. I'm legally blind. I knew I should look in the chat. It stands for purpose over pleasure. And it's so simple. It's a great way to live. And it's a great way to really implement discipline. It's purpose over pleasure. As I just said, just because it feels good doesn't mean it is good. Just because it feels right doesn't mean it is right. Purpose over pleasure. All right. So the second trait is discipline. Something that you can do. Just like commitment. Find something small that you can stay disciplined in. Find something small. Right? Maybe in that commitment, right, it's going to take a lot of discipline. Maybe you say, okay, I got commitment of I want to lose this amount of weight. I want to gain this amount of weight. The discipline part of that would be having to resist certain things. Or maybe it's, looking around and stop spending so much time with people that don't move you forward, or stop doing your hobbies that don't create great habits that move you to a place where you can make it happen. Okay, so maybe it's saying, let me not do these hobbies because these hobbies really don't serve me. And listen, I'm not telling you not to have fun with your life because you deserve to have fun. I have cheat meals. I have times where I have fun, but I schedule it. It's not a lifestyle that I live every single day. All right, you can have fun with your life, by the way, but you'll start to realize like the real fun is when you start to feel alive doing the things that you love that are getting you the results that you love. Okay, so sometimes with discipline, sometimes you have to say no to the things that you like because the things that you like don't get you to a place that you would love to be. Okay, discipline. Number 3, I'm not going to spend much time on this word because you've heard me talk about this word since we started. Number 3 is consistency. Every champion has consistency. My definition of consistency is anchoring your actions in greatness so daily you produce nothing less than your very best. I want to present this idea to you guys. I talk about goals a lot, and a lot of people talk about goals. And goals are great, but I don't feel like goals are enough. How many of you can be honest with me and say that you had a goal that you reached, and when you reached that goal was the beginning to your downfall? As I like to say, success became the foundation for your failure. How many people have been there? I know I've been there. I believe my NFL career was a perfect example of that. My success was the foundation for my failure. Because when I got there, I stopped doing what it took to get me there. So a lot of people fall in love with goals, but goals are something that you reach. Standards are something that you live by. When you're consistent, okay, with your goals, when it becomes a lifestyle, when you're consistent with your goals, it becomes a standard. So instead of saying, let me present this to you. Is this true? If you lived a healthy lifestyle, right? A healthy lifestyle, would it really matter if you had a goal to lose 10 pounds? Don't you think you would lose those 10 pounds because you just lived a healthy lifestyle? Am I right or am I right? If you had a goal to achieve, whatever in your business, great. Goals are there. But what if you just said, I have a standard of operating at this level? I can guarantee you that you're going to reach those goals and crush those goals. You're probably going to realize that you've probably set some low goals for yourself because a lot of us operate not based upon what we're capable of doing, but we operate based upon what we experienced in our past. That's why so many of us have a limited mindset because we're only working off of our perception of what we can be and what we can do. We're not working off our truth of what we can do because you're a lot more capable than what you think you are. So be consistent with your goals so you can turn those goals into a standard. I want to make it a lifestyle. I don't want you just to be on and off switch, fall in love with certain goals. No, make it a standard. Forget losing 10 pounds. Make it a standard that I'm going to live a healthy lifestyle. That's what it is for you. Forget saying, I'm going to, gain, 1,000 followers. No, make it a lifestyle. You say, no, I'm going to be committed to impacting lives. I'm going to be consistent in impacting lives. Make that the standard because when you make that the standard, the goals will happen by default. I hope that you guys get that. Okay? When you're consistent, you become reliable. When you're reliable, you become trustworthy. I always use this definition when I speak. The reason that you go to your favorite food place is, if it's right or if it's right, I'm saying that because I know it's right. The reason why you go to your favorite food place is because it's consistently good. I bet you if you went to your favorite food place the next 3 times or 2 times, depending on how much patience you have, some of you don't have no patience, so you like one time and it's it. If you went there and it was bad, it wasn't up to par what it used to be, you wouldn't go there no more. I can promise you that. The reason why you like certain brands of clothes because it consistently feels good to you. The reason why you're here on my live in TIC is because of I've been consistent. You've been able to trust me. You know that I'm going to give you value. You've been watching my videos for months or for years, however long you've been following me. The reason why people come to you, the reason why people will go to you is that you are consistent. You are reliable. It reminds me of sports. I can have a talented player in basketball, a talented player that's a super freak, that's an athlete out of this world. Okay, say like LeBron James. LeBron James is incredible, probably the best player in the NBA. But if I had to take a last second shot, you think I'm gonna give it to LeBron James or Steph Curry? I'm gonna give it to Steph Curry. Why? Because Steph Curry has been way more consistent at hitting big time shots than LeBron James. When you're consistent, you become the go-to person. Okay? You become the go-to person. And this can work both ways. Because if somebody's if somebody's always coming to you with drama and negativity and they comfortable with it, then maybe you've been consistent in entertaining BS. Facts. If somebody's always coming into your life hurting you, maybe you've been consistent of ignoring your worth. Facts. And I know this might sting a little bit, but you're going to be consistent one way or another. If nobody ever comes to you for anything, maybe you've been consistent at just selling for average in your life. But think about the things where people come to you for. Think about it real quick. Evaluate this right now in your life. Think about the things that people come to you for. What do they come to you for? Think about it. And if you evaluate yourself, you're going to realize that you've been pretty consistent. And so if somebody comes to talk to you about their problems, you've been pretty consistent in helping them with their problems. If somebody comes to you for help, you've been pretty consistent with helping them. They know they can trust you. They can depend on you. If somebody comes to you to get a job done, they know that they can trust you to get it done. That's why we have our favorite barbers. We have our favorite hairstyles. We have our favorite mechanics. It's because these people are consistent. Champions are consistent. They are. They don't come with an on and off switch, okay? So with consistency, the same thing as the last two. Find something small to build your consistency at. Something small. Because if you can't be consistent in the small things, you can't expect what? The big things to happen. We got about 10 minutes. Let me move through this. Number 4. Okay, number 4 is faith. Faith is simply this. Believing the odds are beatable, even when the odds say it's impossible. You know, sometimes in life, you can have all the systems in the world. You can have the right plan. You can have the right roadmap. You can have everything right. And everything still goes wrong. Right? It's like, it reminds me of sports. You know, I'm using sports a lot because championship mindset, the analogy of sports. But it reminds me of sports. I remember we had a game plan and we just knew this game plan was going to work. And we got out there to play the game and the game plan did not work at all. This team was kicking our butts. The only thing we really could depend on was faith. We had to say, you know what? We got to throw the game plan out the window. We just got to go. We know we got to ball out. We got to play. We got to step up to the plate. We got to respond, right? We got to have that championship mindset. We got to have that war. We got to be fixed on that mindset of how we're going to respond. And faith, for me, faith is in your feet. Like a lot of people talk faith, which is great, right? We should confess it. A lot of people just type faith, though. You know, even in this comment box, I see a lot of you, speaking, and it's great. It's a great first step. But what really shows faith is in your feet. If I was to come into your life, I should be able to see you, right, walking out what you say you believe in. Your life should be a reflection of your vision. Your life should be a reflection of your destination. You should be driving, right? Faith, you should be driving towards your destination, whatever that is. And it doesn't matter how many losses, it doesn't matter what's come up against you. Those things do not matter. You got to have faith despite opinions, despite failure. And then you look at Oprah, look at Michael Jordan, look at Walt Disney. It reminds me of college. When I was at Baylor, we weren't too good. We were okay. I like to say we were progressing. We weren't too good, but we were okay. And my coach, I guess he knew we would probably would lose, but our coach would give us this speech, and he would always say, and I'll never forget, he would say, "Throw the blanket over the scoreboard." I was just like, what does that mean? And over time, I got what he was saying. He was saying, like, don't worry about the score. Don't worry about who's winning, who's losing. All you need to worry about is showing up every single play. All you need to worry about is giving your all to every single moment. Every time you step on the field, leave it all on the field. And when that clock hits 0-0-0, then we'll take the scoreboard, the blanket off the scoreboard, and we'll deal with the results. And he's like, you'll be able to deal with the results when you know that you're giving your all. It's hard to deal with the results, even losing, when you know, especially when you lose, when you know that you didn't give your all and you could have gave more. That's like life, right? That's life. You know, when I get to the end of life and my life didn't go the way I wanted it to go, which everybody's life isn't, it needs to go the way God has called it to go. But if things didn't add up the way I liked it because I was lazy at points, because I had my setbacks, then I'm going to regret. I'm not going to be able to live with myself because I had a life full of incompletion. But even if I suffered major losses, but I knew I showed up every single day, no matter what. I knew I stepped up to the plate and swung the bat no matter what. I knew I shot the ball because I understand that you will miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And I knew I shot the ball even if I shot terrible. I can live with that. I can live with that. I can live with doing the right things and not getting the right results. I can live with that. But what I can't live with is doing the wrong things and getting the wrong results. So put that blanket, this is what faith is. Put that blanket over your scoreboard of life. Stop tracking so many wins and losses. Stop tracking so many wins and losses, because if you know this as a champion, there's very few championship teams that go undefeated. And I know this for a fact. A lot of championship teams, their best, the most influential game is not the game that they blew somebody out. It was the game that they got their butt kicked. Because getting their butt kicked flipped the switch. Getting their butt kicked made them evaluate their life. You evaluate your life, made them evaluate their team, what they were doing. It was a gut check. It was like putting up a mirror reflection and like, hey, you need to get it right. And it's the same in life. Like, the losses can teach you how to win. The wins are great, but the wins aren't always going to teach you how to better your situation. So throw that scoreboard over your blanket of throw that blanket over your scoreboard of life, and you just make sure you show up every single day. You make sure that you don't quit on yourself. You don't allow people to make you quit on yourself. And you give your all to the moment. That's what faith is. Believing the odds are beatable even when the odds say it's impossible. Okay? How can we demonstrate faith? I think you demonstrate faith by having something I call a gardener's mindset. I'm not sure if you heard me talk about this, but it's something that I live by. What's a gardener's mindset, Trent? Well, it's exactly that. It's what a gardener has. I'm not sure some of you garden. I dibbled and dabbled in garden. If you read my book, you'll see my gardening story, how that turned out. But I remember my grandfather. My grandfather was a countryman. He crops everything. And I remember going to Little Rock, Arkansas. Bless my grandfather's soul. He taught me so much. He taught me how to have a gardener's mindset without even knowing he was teaching me how to have it. And I would go there. I might have told you this story before, but it really embodies the example of faith and what faith is. But I would go there and we would plant these seeds, right? I would always be infatuated of planting stuff with my grandfather. It was just so cool to do. So we would plant these seeds, and we'll plant these seeds, and within hours I would be bugging my grandfather. I would be like, Grandpa, like, we planted the seed an hour ago. Like, where's the result? Where's the crop? Where is it? Like, we planted an hour ago. Like, it's nothing happening. We did it wrong. He would just be like, Trent, you got to be patient. It's going to take time, right? You got to take care of the seed. You got to water the seed. The sunlight has to hit it. You have to take time. So I would come back, the next morning. Grandpa, like, it's 24 hours. The seed still hasn't grew. There's no harvest. Like, we did something wrong. He's like, Trent, we did nothing wrong. We did everything right. He said, you got to have patience. It's going to take time. So I would come back 3 days later. Grandpa, it's been 72 hours. So he for sure did something wrong. Trent, you got to have patience. There's something going on beneath the surface that you can't see. And eventually, you'll see. It'll happen. So I would end up leaving because obviously the crop didn't grow within those 3 days. And I remember calling my grandfather, or even coming back if it was like a few weeks later or a month later. And my grandpa would call me and say, Trent, you know what? That crop, that seed that we planted has grew. It's here. I'm like, Grandpa, why did it take so long? Why did it take so long to grow? And he told me this. I probably put it in my way of saying it, but I'm paraphrasing my grandpa. But he said, it was always growing. You just didn't have the faith to see it. It was growing beneath the surface. It was strengthening its roots. It was going through the process. But you didn't have enough faith to see it because you were relying on your eyesight to see what was going on. And he says, the crop has showed itself. It's popped beneath, on top of the surface. And he said, remember this, son. Patience is a talent, and faith means that you know growth is taking place even when you can't see it growing. And I want to tell everybody in here tonight that you got to have that gardener's mindset if you plan to win some championships in your life. You know, you got to know that if you're doing the right things, if you're watering that dream, that seed, right? If you're showing up, if you're not backing down, if you're being committed, if you're being disciplined, if you're being consistent, you have to know that growth is taking place even when you can't see it. My life is a living reflection of that. I didn't know rehab time would be where it is today. But I just knew if I just kept impacting lives, that it was something special for me. And not just for me, but for those that I serve. And so I always know that if I'm doing the right thing, if I'm focused, growth is taking place. Just like working out. You're not going to see results in day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But there comes a time when you look in the mirror because you trusted the process and you be like, dang. Then you start like turning, taking pictures, smiling at yourself, right? Because you trusted the process. Faith is trusting the process. And so developing faith, I would tell you to just evaluate and just make sure that you have that gardener's mindset. Just know that you're doing the right things, right? So faith to me is doing all the things we talked about. Make sure you're doing those and know that it's going to pay off in some form or fashion. Even if it's not in your life, it might be the growth might show up in your kid's life. All right? So 4 is faith. 5, the last trait of having a championship mindset, guys. Man, this training is special. I hope you guys are feeling like I'm feeling because I'm feeling like this is one of my best trainings. Like I'm super passionate about championship mindset. It's one of my first principles that I developed with rehab time. I just hope that you guys are feeling like I'm feeling it. And I hope that it's really helping you. I hope that I'm serving you tonight. The last one is heart. Finding the strength to give more, even when everything else says you have nothing left. You know, my uncle told me this a long time ago, and I believe it's from maybe, I don't know, John Maxwell, Darren Hardy, somebody said this, but effort is between you and you. Ray Lewis has said it too. But effort is between you and you. Can't nobody control that. Right? Nobody has, I would say people may have influence over it by how they make you feel, but at the end of the day, what you give to the world is on you. Y'all know that's one of my fundamental principles of the 2 things that you can control. What you accept and what you give. What you give is on you. Nobody else can control that. I want you to understand. My mom is texting me. Nobody else can control that. Okay, so what I need everybody here to do, which a lot of you have already done, but I need you to unwrap your gift. I need you to leave your mark on every single day. Leave your stamp on every single day. Leave legacy on every single day. And make the world respect your greatness. Okay, like heart is like I felt. Okay, I felt in this half marathon. I know some of you heard me talk about it on Monday. But I'll reiterate this in how I had to have a championship mindset to finish 13.1 miles. Like I only trained for 6. My friends Rachel and Dave Hollis hit me up And they were like, hey, Trent, well, we're actually in Puerto Rico. Like, hey, you want to run a half marathon? And I was like, yeah. I was just saying yeah before I actually thought about like if I should run it. But I've been living a rehab lifestyle. So I've been running 6-7 miles, but another 7 miles is a big difference. Like for real, for real. So I said yes, but I forgot all about it. You know, I'm traveling, you know, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm in LA. I'm still training a bit, but I'm not running as much. And Friday comes around, the Friday before the Sunday I have to run, I get a text from Rachel and she's like, hey, you still running with us, right? And I'm like, oh, snaps. You know, like we kind of hope somebody forgets about it. They didn't forget about it. And I was like, I got to stay loyal to my word, commitment. Stay loyal to what you said you were going to do long after what you said has left you. This is me living it, commitment. So I'm like, huh. So I go sign up for it. I'm hoping like it's sold out or something like that. I sign up for it. Everything goes right. I'm signed up. I'm down there. So I am good. Like I'm good for the first 7-8 miles. I actually caught my second win at mile 4 and I started being too cocky. Like I was running around, let's get it. Telling everybody like, you know, dapping people up. Let's go. I'm running around like this. Yeah. Had the music bumping. And I caught my second win too quick. So I'm thinking like, okay, I'm good for the rest. Like I got my second win. My second win did not last too long. When I got to mile about 9, I hit a freaking brick wall. I feel like I got hit by Mike Tyson, 20 Mike Tysons, just right in the chest. My legs were dying out. My arms were dying out. My commitment was leaving, discipline, all that stuff. Like, all this stuff sounded good. But when you're in the middle of war, right, you got to show up. When you're in the middle of war, you got to be a warrior, right? So I had to be like, listen, you got a choice, Trent. Either you can talk it or you can live it. This is a perfect time for you to show up and really be about that life. Perfect time for you to show up and really be about that life. Now you test it. You inspire everybody else. Now you test it. What you gonna do? So I said, I gotta push through. So I keep running, man. And I went live. And some of you might have saw it. Did you guys see that? I went live at like mile 10 because I needed y'all. Because I was like, listen, if I get on here, they're going to see me tired and I have to stay committed. I have to because I refuse to be an example of a quitter. I refuse to be an example of someone who throws in the towel. If I'm going to start something, I'm going to finish it or I'm going to die trying. That's just my mindset when it comes to things because I know that I'm a lot more capable than what my body and my mind is telling me. Like your mind goes out way before your body does. Your body can do incredible things. You are a human being. If you haven't like studied the anatomy of being a human, you can do some crazy stuff. But your mind will start playing tricks on you. Your mind will start to tell you like all this stuff. You ain't gonna finish. You got the worst thing I did was start counting the miles. When I hit mile 9, I was like 10, 11, 12. I was like 4 miles left. Oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this? And you know what? I found leverage. My leverage. And we talk about leverage a lot. And listen, leverage is a big thing. It's something I've been very passionate about lately. I've been talking about on my podcast. It's something I will talk about for the rest of my life. I found my leverage statements. I found my major leverage statement. And that leverage statement was simply this. I got to mile 10, and you guys were part of it, but this was like the major one. And I got a text message, which is the most annoying thing you can do when you're tired and you're running. Like my wife is calling me. I'm like, and texting me. I'm like, leave me alone. I don't want to use any energy to do this. I need all my energy. And so she's like, we at the finish line. And even though I was annoyed that she was texting, I needed that text because I said, my son, my daughter, but more importantly, my son, because Maya don't know what's going on. My son is at this finish line. And I just early that day was pushing my son in his track meet. I was telling my son, you better not quit. You got to push through this pain. Like, go get it. Don't get into habits of quitting because when you get into habits of quitting, it becomes contagious throughout your life and you start to get used to it. You start to get used to throwing in the towel. Don't bring a towel to throw in. Okay? We don't bring towels to throw in. You have no towel to throw in. And I thought about, dang, I just told my son not to quit. And I'm here considering quitting. And I was like, hell no. I'm sorry, but yeah, I was like, hell no. I said, I refuse to show my son an example of a quitter. I refuse for my son to think, dang, my dad talks it, but he doesn't live it. My dad tries to tell me what he won't do. My dad tries to make me do what he won't do. And I found that strength That and the lady that had some Krispy Kreme donuts right before the last bridge, like that helped too. Shout out to the lady with the Krispy Kreme donuts. I ate 2 of them joints. I didn't eat anything, but that kept me going. And sometimes in life, that's the only thing that's gonna keep you going, is that heart. When you hit that brick wall, as marathoners call it, is that mile 19, half marathoners. For me, it was that mile 10. What you gonna do when you hit that mile 10 in your life? You gotta have a champion has a response. What did we talk about at first? About what's the mindset, right? That warrior mindset, that championship mindset. It's predetermined. So a champion already is ready to respond to adversity. If something doesn't go right, we already know how we're responding. So when life throws you curveballs, when life uppercuts you in your face, how are you going to respond? You can either respond with greatness or you can respond with excuses. You can respond with pushing through or you can respond by throwing in the towel. And I'll tell you right now, if you bring in a towel to it, you got plans on quitting anyway. I'm not bringing a towel anywhere. Okay, I'm using this as a metaphor, by the way. But I'm not bringing a towel anywhere because I'm not throwing no towels until I tap out. That's what having heart is all about. So if you haven't yet, I know I talked about this a lot, but if you haven't developed leverage statements or questions in your life, you need to. You need a statement that is strong, that reason, that commitment, all these tie together. You need a statement that is strong, that's going to push you past your mile 10. Because it's so rewarding when you cross that finish line. It was so rewarding when my son ran up to me and hugged me and said, "Dad, I'm proud of you." Not embarrassed of you. "Dad, I'm proud of you." It's so rewarding when you realize that you conquer your struggle and you created a new peak. You conquer your struggle and you created a new level. You set a new standard. You expand your bandwidth in your life and your mindset. See, that half marathon expand my bandwidth. Now I went from thinking I only can do 8 miles to now my bandwidth is 13 miles. And who knows, maybe I might do a full marathon. Okay, so what's going to be that leverage statement in your life that's going to keep you going? And this is what having a championship mindset is all about. Okay? If you guys are ready to win some championship in your life, I want you to say, hell yeah, we ready to win some championships in our life. And I'm sorry if I offended you by saying hell yeah, but hell yeah. All right, we about to go get it. We about to conquer this stuff. We about to rise above. We about to make the world respect our greatness. And we're never going to fold. We're never going to cave. We're going to be a warrior when we're in war. We're going to be victorious when we're in war. And sometimes victorious, like I said, doesn't mean winning the battle sometimes. Sometimes you got to lose certain battles. Just because you lose the battle doesn't mean you can't win the war. Because sometimes our losses teach us more than our wins will ever teach us. All right? So when you get knocked down, when you're losing, when you're going through bad seasons, do know seasons change. Do know you might go through a streak where things are off, but you can come back. Y'all seen the Super Bowl with the Patriots versus Atlanta? They was down, 28-3. Most people would have quit. Most people would have threw in the towel. A lot of people turned off the TV, but they didn't bring a towel to throw in. They already had their mind made up that they was going to win, no matter what the scoreboard looked like. That's a perfect example. They threw the blanket over the scoreboard. The only people that saw the score was us. They ain't see the score because I can tell by the way they operated. Because most people looking at the score, that's impossible to come back from that. But you know what? They came back and made it happen because they had their mindset fixed on winning their championships. Like I tell you at the end of every single video, it all starts with you. All right? It's rehab time. Let's get it. I'm going to take a few questions. But I really feel this training was probably the most powerful training that we've had. And if you really develop these traits and you understand these traits, which are super simple, guys, nothing hard, very practical stuff, it can help change your life. So make sure you go to the group and you talk about this. You challenge people to come watch it. You challenge people to step up, man, because TIC, we all a team. We all a team. So what we got? Long as I'm committed, so cool, guys. Let's take a few questions, and I got to get out of here. I got to actually go get an edge up. I got to go to my consistent barber. Thank you, Ann. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Thanks, Mike. Thank you, Ginger. You spreading the word for people to join us, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. And people, people need to. I want as many people as I can, but the people that I hear, that's who I care about. You guys that are here, you guys that show up, and I'm gonna keep trying to just give you guys stuff that I know has worked for my life. Thank you for finding. Thank you, Lisa. If you listen, also too, if you can like, and some of you already have, but if you can make a video just talking about this, like, man, like I don't know if some of y'all are recording me on my phone. That would be dope too. If you recorded some of this and posted on social media and be like, man, like, however you feel, I'm not gonna tell you what to say, but like the inner circle has done this, or this training was incredible, whatever. Like if you even can make like a 10-second video, like on Snapchat, not on Snapchat, on Instagram stories, that would be perfect. So I can share it because I want to share it. I want to share the testimony. Okay, cool. Appreciate it. Let me see questions. Jennifer said, how do you get back on track when you face setbacks? How do I get back on track when I face setbacks? Well, kind of talked about it today, right? I already have predetermined my mindset, and I understand a setback is just a setback. And so what I do is I control my perspective towards that. What you focus on is what you will feel, right? Focus is your power. It's your power, literally. Like I always break down life like this. How you see life is what you feel about. How you see life is how you feel about life. How you feel about life is what you. Let me slow down because I do talk fast. How you see life is how you feel about life. How you feel about life is what you do with life. What you do with life is what you get from life. And I know that focus is everything. So when a setback hits my life, I think about, okay, what can this setback teach me? Because sometimes setbacks happen. It could be a blessing in your life. I lost football. That was a major setback in my life, but it prepared me for the comeback that I had. Minor setback, major comeback. We all know those words. And so when you're going through a setback, just know it's not fatal. It's not final. Champions lose. Champions have bad games. Champions go on losing streaks. Champions get down. But what champions don't do is that they don't stay down. So evaluate it. Say, okay, what can I learn from this? And how can I use this as fuel to prepare me and push me forward? Okay. I love all my shirts. I need my shirt. Oh yeah, guys, we got shirts too. I'm picking them up right now. We got some cool. The TIC shirts are made. They will be available. I'm putting them on the site probably tomorrow night or tomorrow if I can. But we have that. We have some snapback hats that are ready for you guys. It all starts with you red shirts. Just got to take a picture in it. Let's go. Let's see what we got. Thanks. When you say live like your last, how do you overcome obsessing about that? Yeah. So like to where it brings fear. So let me think about that question, because I know what you're saying. Like when you obsess about it, it could bring fear. Like, oh dang, something might happen. For me, it's knowing that life is gonna end, and I'm not afraid of death. I'm just not. Like I'm afraid of dying without living. So I know if I just live today to its full capability, then I'm good. Like I don't think we should be afraid of death. I think we're afraid of death is because something we haven't experienced yet, and usually things you haven't experienced, you're afraid of. But I really feel like, nobody really knows what happens after. I mean, of course, you have your faith and you have your beliefs. But for me, I just know that even if I died, I would leave something here that lasts forever. So I'm good with that. And so I'm obsessing over knowing that my time will end. And so I want to leave as much here that will carry on, that will create legacy, that will help future generations, help my son, help his family, help his family's family, her family, whoever, the cycle of generations. I obsess over that. And I know every single day I have an opportunity to do something that will do that. Like what's cool about this, like my grandkids are going to probably watch my videos. They're like, damn, that's my grandpa. Like my grandkids for sure, they're going to watch these. And that's why it's very important, I would tell you guys, to like start creating video, get on video, because this is a way, like, think about this. Like they're going to be able to see this stuff at some point, and they're going to know my mindset. They're going to know my trainings. They're going to know everything. They're going to know how I thought, how I live. My son, You know, when I leave this earth, he's gonna know everything about me. Like he's gonna know how I felt when he goes through hard times in life. Oh, what would dad told me? Oh, here's a video right here. You know, so I obsess over that. Let's see. Okay. What about people who are disabled with TBI? Your true focus to go back to career as a certified coder. Debbie, I don't. It's hard for me to answer that question. Y'all need a game 70. Cool. I like that, Con. I like that game 7. I like that. We gonna get some of those. That's a great idea, by the way. I'm not familiar with that, so it's hard for me to kind of like give you advice from experience. But I will tell you this, just in knowing people, like a lot of people have turned their greatest disability to they're turned their disability to their greatest ability. Like you've seen people with no limbs, no legs, like inspire the heck out of people. Like they had a guy had no legs that was running a half marathon. I'm like, what is going on? Like this dude is killing it. So it's about how can you use this to better the world? How can you use what was supposed to break you to make you? How you use what was supposed to knock you out to kill you to strengthen you? It's like somebody with cancer. There's so many people who are passionate about overcoming cancer because of the cancer that they went through. One of my closest friends, she's dead now, but she had sickle cell. And it's so crazy, man, because she was supposed to speak on one of my rehab calls, like a close friend. Even at her funeral, she had the C Martin on my past shirt on. And it breaks my heart just even thinking about it. But she lived her life like with her sickness, but she lived her life to allow her pain to become other people's power. So she came from a standpoint of like, listen, I'm going through this, and look, you're not in this, so it's so many other things that you can do, right? She used her life to still strengthen other people. Or I'm going through this and I'm still doing this. Like you need to get off your butt. You ain't got sickle cell. Like go get it. So she turned what was supposed to break her into something that was powerful. Oh, Ginger, you're coming to Oak Cliff at Jonathan's event? That's cool, Ginger. Yeah, I'm gonna announce it. So yeah, I'll be doing like that's one of the events that I'm gonna do in my book release. It's a free event. If you're in Dallas, I'll be speaking at Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, and it's gonna be a surreal moment because if you read the book, you know that was the stage that I changed my life on. So it was super crazy, man, to be able to like full circle year 10, my first traditional published book, being able to go on that stage and impact lives. I'm gonna cry. I know I am. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna be a baby on that stage. So if you're in Dallas Fort Worth, June 1st, it's a free event. It's for 18 through 40 year olds. But if you're a little bit over 40, I probably can get you in. But yeah, it's their young adult ministry. Feel free to come. Okay, let me see. Any more questions, guys? No arms. Define your story. That's right. June 1st, we'll be crying with you. I live 10 hours away from you. What's a certified coder? Cool. Let's take one more question before I get off of here. God, I've been working today, man. Like since 12 o'clock, I've had nonstop podcasts. I had one at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I came on and trained at 7. So today has been a very productive day. I'm super grateful, but I'm super tired, and I gotta go. I gotta go get an edge up, and then Tristan has track me in the morning, so we gotta get prepared for that. So it's beautiful, man. Like it's beautiful, but it is tiring. Yeah, well, it's just me and Tristan here. My wife and family, they're in Port Aransas. It's just me and Tris. It's just boys' night here. All right, guys. I don't see any more questions. Y'all telling me to get out of here. But it's been 83 minutes. We rocked it tonight. The replay will be up. I will go ahead and post. Well, really, the replay link is the link I've already posted, but I'll repost the replay link. Or if some of you want to do it, feel free to repost it. But I'll do that. And I'm glad you guys joined me on this Friday on short notice. But I'm flying out to New York City Sunday to still push the book. I have a lot of media to do. So, guys, if you got the book, please leave a review on Amazon. Please share the book. I need your help to just impact lives, man. It's not about how many people get the book, because I don't care if they go to the library and read it. I just wanted to get the book in as many people's hands because I really feel that this book will be super transformational. And I created this book for you guys. So Thank you so much for rocking with me tonight. I love each and every one of you, like from the bottom of my heart. You guys keep me going. You guys keep me committed. And you guys are taking me to another level because now I'm having to think like, how can I not just be motivational, inspirational, but how can I give them tangible things to actually apply to their life? And I hope tonight that you have some simple, tangible things that can make some big differences in your life. Because remember, the three elements to transformation is inspiration, information, implementation equals transformation. Those three I's. And so make sure you implement something tonight. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till next week when that mood leaves. Implement it tonight. And also, oh, one more thing about commitment. I didn't talk about this. With commitment, one of my strategies that I do are my tactics, and it works. I go back to the moment where I felt that mood. Okay, this might seem hard, but so a perfect example would be tonight, right? Tonight, if you're inspired, you're motivated, you're hype, you're ready to take on the Goliaths in your life. When this mood leaves, maybe you go back to this training. Maybe you sit in that same spot you're watching it now. You go back to this training and it brings that mood back in. That's why we do certain things with our energy, right? We go back to certain places and certain times and certain environments. Like you ever walk somewhere where you had a great experience and it kind of just sends like chills up your body because you're reenacting that situation. You're getting back into that mood, right? So you always can, I'm not gonna say always, but it's very possible to recreate the mood by going back to the moment, if that makes sense. Okay, so I want to share that with you guys. Peace out, love you. Let's have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday, maybe, because I'll be in New York. I'll figure it out. I'll try to see you sometime on Monday. Yeah, I'll let you guys know because I'll be in New York. I might have TV and stuff like that. But hopefully I'll see you Monday. If not, I'll just go live.